You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Here was Brian Kelly after practice on who he felt had the better day, offense or defense.
Yeah, I'm a head coach, right? So I never leave feeling good about practice because it's usually offense one day, defense the next. Yesterday, we threw 2 interceptions in the red zone. Our defense was great yesterday. Today, I think we moved the ball pretty good on offense, and, it was probably more of an offensive day, But, that's practice, right? And that's why I say we evaluate each day and don't walk away going, we've arrived.
It is tough because the offense had a big day today. And you can look at it one of two ways. You could celebrate that the offense had a big day, or you can maybe be a little apprehensive about the defensive backs in particular, because the defensive backs did, in fact, take one on the chin today from the wide receivers. But the good news is Kayshon Boutte, Jeray Jenkins, Malik Neighbors, they're going to give a lot of defensive backfields fits. One thing that was also obvious today is that Garrett Dellinger did struggle with the snap. We saw them during the practice part before the scrimmage work some reps under center when they were doing sort of goal line or short yardage situations. But in the scrimmage portion in particular, when they got into the red zone and in goal line situations, and they were running out of the shotgun, there were about 3 consecutive plays where he rolled the snap back to Garrett Nussmeier. And the first question out the chute was if Brian Kelly was concerned about the shotgun snap.
I think we're at this point in practice 12 where I'm very demanding and will be, from 12 all the way to the first game. He's going to be fine. It's really just about what we're asking him to do is a lot more now other than snapping. If he was just snapping the ball, he'd be fine. But we're asking him to call out the front. He's making the checks. He's gone from playing, guard to center. And so this is a culmination now of all of that being, piled on. And he actually feels comfortable snapping it now. And so he's not paying attention to the details of it. So we'll get it worked out. I'm not concerned about it, but I have to stay on him and make sure that he's aware that it affects the timing of the offense.
To say that the snap affects the timing of the offense is a gross understatement. It's the thing literally that has to happen for everything to begin. And that was a problem. During the scrimmage portion, they had a first and goal at the 6. It was a low snap. Josh Williams got a 2-yard run. On second down, it was a low snap. Mason Smith blew up Garrett Dellinger and had a 4-yard tackle for loss. And then on third down, it was another low snap, and Nussmeier rolled right. He was under extreme pressure, threw it into the end zone. It was darn near intercepted by Jay Ward, who dropped the interception in the end zone. But there's one very obvious part of this, and it's the Mason Smith variable. I was standing right there. All the media was standing right there. I mean, as soon as the ball was snapped, Mason Smith was blowing up, as Mike Detillier would say, was blowing up the launch pad. So if you're Garrett Dellinger and you're getting blown up, your reaction is going to be, you got to get your hands back up more quickly. And so he wasn't following through on the snap. He was rolling it back there. Still getting blown up. Mason Smith's going to cause that problem for a lot of people. But that doesn't make it any easier on a day like this when you continue to see that happen. Now, I asked Brian Kelly if the first offensive line was set. Interestingly enough, he said no. They're going to, on Saturday, they're going to give Cam Wire a shot with the first team at tackle. They're going to give Marcus Dumerville a shot with the first team, and they're going to give Charles Turner a shot with the first team at center. Part of me has to believe that's because of this snapping component. And I've shared this with you before, y'all, but this is what happened with Chasen Hines. In 2020, Chasen Hines was going to be the center. He couldn't get the snap down. And so Liam Shanahan played center. Because that is literally the reason why. Because Hines couldn't get the snap. So You got to start there. But there was a really good question. I think it might have been Leah Van who asked this, but it was about why Garrett Dellinger was the choice at center, because you had the only player you had who has played center is Charles Turner, and so if you're trying to rep other guys, why then did you choose Dellinger for this spot?
I think first and foremost, just his ability to move. He's got good lateral ability to move, size. Today, you're getting so much shade on the center. The days of playing, a small center are starting to dwindle. You're getting such big guys on the nose now, especially in third down situations. So he matched the criteria of somebody that could move, and he's 313 pounds. I think the next criteria was his football smarts. He could handle calling out the fronts and picking up the things necessary. I think the best way to look at it is, in most sports, strength down the middle, right? The quarterback, the center fielder, the shortstop, whatever sport you want to play, you want your smart, athletic guys there, and he's smart and he's athletic for his position.
He's big, he can move, he's smart. Makes a lot of sense, but you got to get the snap. We'll see if they can improve there. There's two other players that Brian Kelly talked about in particular that I wanted to highlight. One of them we have talked about, which is Colby Richardson. The other is Noah Cain, who we haven't talked a lot about. And I'll tell you, there was a couple more questions I wanted to ask. The mic never got back to me. And one of them was going to be about Armani Goodwin, because Armani Goodwin had a very good day today as well. I told you I charted during the scrimmage. There were 5 drives. I charted as best I could all the plays. And Goodwin caught a pass for 19 yards. He had 2 rushes for 6 yards. They were sort of goal line type rushing attempts. But so those numbers didn't pop. But during the team periods earlier in practice before the scrimmage, Goodwin very obviously had a big role. And the 19-yard reception was on a screen pass that he took around left end, and he dump trucked the aforementioned Colby Richardson. But all that to say, Noah Cain seems like he has emerged now. And again, we don't see every snap of every practice. From what we've seen, it is pretty clear that Noah Cain has emerged, and he looks really, really good. Here was Brian Kelly on the Penn State transfer.
I think he's getting better every day. I didn't think he played early on with the physicality. It looked like he was still kind of feeling his way through it a little bit early on, but you can see he's starting to come on and playing, behind his pads with better vision, and I just think he's going to continue to feel better and more comfortable. I would like to see him take the swing out of the backfield, upfield. He tried to dance a little bit, but he's coming on. He's getting better, and I know he's feeling better about himself too in terms of just getting back into the fold, so to speak. So I think progress is definitely being made there.
The swing that Brian Kelly talked about was during the scrimmage, and it was the Jaden Daniels was quarterback in the 2s. They threw the swing pass to Noah Cain, and he was tackled for no gain. That was a 3-and-out drive. That was the only 3-and-out drive. But Cain running the football, they went to him heavily in when they went in third down and goal line, short yardage type situations, and he scored the first touchdown of the scrimmage when they were inside of the 5, back-to-back carries to get into the end zone. They like him, and he is going to have a significant role. The other who we have talked about a bit here is Colby Richardson. I actually have to catch myself to make sure I don't say Cody Dickerson. Like, it's you're laughing, but it is kind of like programmed into my brain now. This was so interesting because, we talked to Colby Richardson when he committed back in June, and he's gotten a lot of run. He is getting run with the first team. And Brian Kelly today took it even a step further with Richardson with some stuff that we hadn't known to this point about what Richardson has done to transform himself since June.
A lot of things had to transpire. First of all, he put on, close to 20 pounds. And so his summer workouts were outstanding. So we saw this natural athlete that really was not physically ready to compete at the level of the SEC transform himself physically. And, once that started to take shape and form, we saw speed right away, but he was 167 pounds, and so he wasn't physically strong enough to compete at this level. Now, over, 188 to 190, he certainly has now developed himself into a guy that's going to play football for us. He
is going to play. And, when I think Brian Kelly also talked about the depth. Can we play that one, Muse? This is number 6. This is Brian Kelly talking about the cornerback depth, and this does give you a much better snapshot of how they're lining up right now at corner.
We like Jarek at the wide field corner. We think he's really smart and savvy, has a good feel for it. Makai as well can play there. I just think that we have interchangeable pieces there. The freshman's done a really nice job out there. I think we came into camp with a lot of uncertainties at corner, and I think going into our 13th practice, I think we've got 6 corners that we feel that we can play. And that's a far cry from where we were, a few months ago.
You've got 6 corners that you feel like you can play. Would you see a day like this where the receivers at LSU kind of have their way? What's the ceiling? The way that I'll continue to say it, I think, is I don't think any of the cornerbacks on this team are as good as Elias Ricks. None of them have the ceiling that Dwight McGlothern has. But you've got a lot of guys who have played a lot of football and are good physical corners that can play at this level. I don't know that you're going to have the best secondary in college football, but you are deep and talented and experienced, and that's going to matter in a lot of these games. It was nice to see Sevyn Banks go through 7-on-7s today as well. Apparently, he has not still been 100%. So Sevyn Banks, the Ohio State transfer, is still working to get back to 100% to be able to be a full go. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.